Hi guys, I'm Jade and I thought I would do a really quick video for you about holidays and OCD and how I'm feeling now that I'm better and what it was like before, so that you can have some motivation and maybe start to feel some hope for what the future can hold. So in a nutshell, holidays were the worst part of the year for me. I would dread them for months. Even from Christmas time, which I also dreaded, I would be like, oh my gosh, 6 more months and then it's holiday season. I'm not going to be able to handle it. I really don't want to go on holiday. And then the night before a holiday, I would just be like literally sick. I'd be anxious, throwing up. I wouldn't eat for days in the lead up. I would chronically overwork because my mind, like the intrusive thoughts would stop. I would drink on the weekends, sleep all weekend, just to escape the idea that when we go on holiday, I don't have any of my avoidance opportunities. There's no escape. My fears are everywhere. Airports were really challenging because in my life I'd managed to like build a box where I could just like go to work. I would walk an exact route to the train station, get off the train, go to work a really long shift, come home, watch TV, usually Friends, eat some food, read a book, go to sleep, and drink on a weekend, and then oversleep all weekend. And then because the life seemed fairly normal for someone in their 20s, I kind of convinced myself it was normal. But as soon as you go on holiday, it's like, oh, you relax, you don't do any of these things. I couldn't escape my triggers. So on the way to the airport, I would be feeling really sick. I wouldn't have eaten for maybe 2 days. At the airport was just terrifying. I would constantly just go to the bathroom and just stand looking at the mirror thinking, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. I hope some kind of disaster happens where our flight is cancelled. And then when we'd arrive, I'd be counting down the days. I would arrive feeling so unsettled, not just because I didn't want to be on the holiday because I was so unbelievably triggered, but also because it was so hard to see everyone else having so much fun. And I just couldn't imagine why they were having fun and why I was so stuck. Couldn't ever imagine having fun on holiday. Something that really sticks out to me is remembering like where we come in Italy, we go down to the river to sunbathe all day. And that was like, for me, I couldn't even walk past a school. I was so triggered by even the image of anything on an advertising board, anything that would trigger me. So the idea of going anywhere near anything related to swimming was just terrifying. So yeah, I'd be sick. I would often just not go. I would make up an illness and I would just lay in bed all day in the dark while my husband and all his cousins and friends and the family would go there. I couldn't eat anything. So what I used to do was carry around this, like in Italy, they have these like little packets of crackers and there's like a pack and they're like really like 3 stitched together and there's 3 of those. So it's like 9 really wafer thin crackers. And I would carry a packet of those around with me for the whole day. And I would say to myself, by the end of the day, if you can have eaten like maybe 3 of these crackers, at least you've got enough to like stay alive. I mean, obviously that is enough to stay alive, but like I wasn't having any energy. And obviously the more you go on like that, the weaker you feel and then the worse the OCD gets. So it was this vicious cycle of not eating enough, feeling worse. It was getting worse, the OCD getting worse because of that. And so I think that gives you a picture of how difficult things were. And yeah, I wanted to do this video now while it's fresh in my mind, while I'm still on holiday, because I've just been reflecting today on how it could not be more different. So the first thing to say is that I've been here 11 days, we go in 3. I'm like, oh, the days are going so fast. I don't want to go home. This is so great. And the night before I had a big takeaway. I really enjoyed my meal. I was all excited about holidays, enjoyed the packing, 0 anxiety. I will say that I think as a person, maybe I feel more comfortable when like everything's organized and everything's ready. And I'm typically an anxious person, just in a general sense of like, I'll think it can creep in where I'll think, oh, what if when the door's shut, I feel trapped? And then when we set off for the flight, I'm trapped here for 2 hours. But it's not something that would for a second make me not want to travel. And also I'm really accepting of that feeling. on my last holiday, in fact, my fear came true that I'd been trying to dispute and I was worried about. So it was basically like, what if they shut the doors on the plane and it's really hot and there's no air conditioning and then I'm trapped on the runway for hours? And that literally happened to me. They got stuck, there was bad weather, and I was just sat there for 3 hours, and then the pilot had said, oh, by the way, there's no air conditioning. So my fear came true, and for the first 20 minutes I could feel like a bit of a rising sense of panic. Time for church. And so then it just went, because of the deep level of unconditional life acceptance that I have. They are not stopping, are they? Okay, they're carrying on. Hopefully you can still hear me. And so that really went to show me as well that I had kept saying to myself, oh, but because my flights always go well and because airport experience is always fine, that's why I'm not anxious about airports anymore. But it was just really good to see that after a while, what is this time? What time is it that this happens? So I made peace with all of that. And then like out here, my appetite is huge. I eat so much. I'm so happy. The food is great. I love all the fresh ingredients. Like Italy is just such a brilliant place for just getting back to basics. I love, my favorite part of the day is going down to the river to just hang out for hours with my kids, with the family, with friends. It's just the best part. I love packing the bag, and now I can finally see what everyone has been talking about with why going to the river is the best part of the day, because it is so hot. So how did I achieve this? I could go on for ages about why this is just great. Like, I wake up in the morning, I have my coffee, I have my chocolate croissant, I read my book for a little bit, I take my kids to the park, we meet a few friends, because over here there's hundreds of our friends at the same time, and then take a walk to the park with the kids. Like this afternoon, we ended up having a really long lunch with some relatives, just like lazing the day away. And now I'll make tea for my kids. We'll go out and have an ice cream in the evening. There'll be some kind of festival. And yeah, I'm just so happy out here. So how did I achieve this radical shift? The first thing was first finding out that I actually had OCD. And the second one was working on going with uncertainty. That was the first one. Like, you're never going to know if your fears are true. Didn't do very much because I was still so terrified, but that is part of that mix. The second one was exposures. So early into my recovery work, I was set exposures by a CBT therapist just to face those fears, and that really did help. Even doing that stuff alone, living with uncertainty, doing some exposures, it is going to improve your life dramatically. And I also had to stop a lot of my avoidance behaviour. So I had to start building into my life, not running away from fears, but actually moving towards them. So that was another one. And then I think even just being told, look, you have OCD, that's what it is, like that made me probably 50% better. So I lived life like that for a couple of years. And then when it came to having my children, life just got really hard again. It was like my worst nightmares come to life. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I've done like therapy, like this is not going to get any better. I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. And then the missing piece that I hadn't found was the unconditional acceptance work that OCD recovery promotes and coaches around. And so I believe that that's why holidays are really enjoyable now, because it was like they were the worst time in my life, and then they were bearable, and now they're enjoyable. And I think that's the big difference I wanted to share with you today. And I think that the unconditional life acceptance has helped in more ways than one, because the first one was the self-acceptance of, no matter what my fears are, I can still live a whole, mostly happy life. I don't need to be terrified of these things. I can just be merely not wanting them. So that was huge, because I trained my brain over time to view my fears the same way that someone without OCD would, which is that if I think about it, oh, I wouldn't want that, but that there's no reason for me to over concern myself with that. And I could accept myself, even though I wouldn't want those conditions to be true. That took a long time. So that was the one aspect where it helped me. But the other aspect was unconditional life acceptance, that holidays don't have to be fun all the time. So even when I'm out here, if I can feel my mental health shifting slightly like a natural ebb, then my brain just automatically resets itself, because I know that if I don't eat one day, or if I don't have a good day, or if I feel triggered, for example, maybe I would get triggered every now and then, it doesn't affect my day. Like I can feel it coming in a little bit, but it doesn't change my day. I wouldn't do anything differently. And that's very rare as well. I'm mostly not triggered. The unconditional life acceptance is like, where is the rule that I must enjoy my holiday the whole time? And so I immediately just reconnect with myself, with the experience. It's also helped in relation to unconditional other acceptance, because when you have multiple family dynamics in a big Italian family, then the times can be challenging, or maybe you're different. This is a different culture than mine, and that's what I've come to recognize, that maybe I'm different in some ways to the people I'm around all the time. So now I'm not irrational about that, and unconditional other acceptance has helped to see that, oh, this person shows love this way, and that's not as compatible with me because I show love in that way, and that feels like the opposite of love, but it's not. It's just how someone else expresses, it's how they are. And maybe they think things of me, why is she like that? Why is she so sad? I don't know what they think of me, but just recognizing that different cultures do things different ways, and that can feel challenging, but you can still enjoy people's company greatly. And now I'm able to see that the time I'm spending over here, like no matter who I'm with, how things go, I can still be really happy. So it's helped in that respect as well.
Mommy,
Hey.
there's water.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so that is what I did in a nutshell, and time is up because my kid needs some water.
Water.
Yeah. So if you have been massively struggling...
Water.
Yeah, should I get you water?
Yeah.
Anyway, give me a comment if you enjoyed this video, and enjoy your holiday if you have one coming up. Oop!
Water.
Give me here. No, Rafi.